Hello everyone. In this video today, we're going to be taking a look at an article from the Boston Herald that's written by Matt Stout and was published on September 12th. Now, before we get into this, this is a really slanted article. It tries to hide and minimize certain things in order to push kind of this leftist kind of agenda. I mean, with the title alone, you start off with it. Anti-war banner at Amherst College sparks 9/11 outrage. Now, here's the thing. It's a pro-communism, Middle Eastern Muslim Islam, anti-American banner. Because when you quote a communist and then add a statement that says, for all of these people killed in the war on terror, when you have people from those regions of the world, you know, with their jihadis of peace driving trucks into crowds and then, in some cases, getting out and stabbing people, yeah. They're not as innocent as you're trying to portray them. And when you quote a communist, yeah, because this person that they're quoting, the hell's trying to call him a historian. And they leave out the fact that he kind of was a card-carrying communist. He was a revisionist of history. Revisionists, in my opinion, as someone who studied history and has a degree, are not historians. Because history, good or bad, is supposed to be about the facts. Plain and simple. But let's get into this article now. Amherst College officials blasted a deeply insensitive anti-war banner hung from campus building, roiling the Western Massachusetts campus as it remembered those killed, including 3 of its own, on the anniversary of 9/11 terrorist attacks. Now, I mean, you look at the banner up there. I mean, that should upset a lot of people. And when you have 3 of your own that were killed in the September 11th attacks, you might have a message, but you should be looking at it from both perspectives. But see, people on the left don't care. They actually chose, the day they chose, just to cause shit. And they want to act like they're the morally superior and more mature and the better people, but they would do something like that to intentionally inflame people's emotions and a situation. But college officials said they don't intend to remove the homemade sign, saying it has an obligation to uphold the community's right to free speech. I do agree with the fact of upholding the right to free speech. But the thing is, you have to look at what it is, what it's saying, and call it for what it is. You can't slant it like the Boston Herald's doing here. Because if they're going to push communist propaganda that says, oh yeah, America's bad, you know, and we're quoting a communist, so we're good, you got a problem. The banner, which first caught students' and officials' attention yesterday morning, was slung above a doorway on Valentine Dining Hall and read in large capital letters, "There is no flag large enough to cover the shame of killing innocent people." A quote that is largely attributed to American historian Howard Zinn. American historian Howard Zinn. I love that. No, you mean card-carrying communist revisionist Howard Zinn, who wrote a book, and I love how they're calling him a historian. Okay? He is the author of A People's History of the United States. Okay? Any book from a communist that starts out A People's History is complete fucking bullshit. Okay, that's been proven with the books out of China. That's been proven with the books out of Russia. That's been proven with the books out of North Korea, Vietnam. Any communist country that where there's a book, A People's History, okay, of blank. The book is complete and utter bullshit. This is why any reputable student of history would never, ever, ever, ever dare look at Hang Seng as a reputable source. Because they would know that's a historical fact. Any book that's got A Peoples is full of shit. Just like the author. Moving on, though. Let's see where else they tried to slant shit. Or I should say, Scott, what's his first name? Sorry about this. Stout, I mean. Matt Stout. Okay, Matt. You're a little propagandist piece of shit, buddy. And I'm sorry I forgot your name. But you kind of pissed me off. And yeah, that kind of leads to me forgetting your name. And I'll just call you anything like shitbrick, moron, sleazebag. Whatever fits. So yeah, let's move on. Below that phrase, in honor of those killed and displaced by America's so-called war on terror. You know, they chose to put this there when they did, knowing full well that UMass Amherst lost 3 of its own on September 11th. And what's even more messed up is how the left has managed to corrupt the cradle of the American Revolution to where this Marxist shit is accepted. I mean, for it to be so accepted that there's a group of people that find it acceptable to put something like that up on September 11th, yeah, they've infiltrated. I mean, Massachusetts is a leftist liberal shithole, so it shouldn't surprise me. It disgusts me. I mean, they've managed to not infiltrate New Hampshire. They've kind of done Maine a bit and Vermont a bit, definitely. But New Hampshire, we've managed to hold our own. And we're kind of surrounded. And I just hope that this shit doesn't cross the border. Because it just gets worse. I mean, things just get worse and worse from there. Because if they can get away with something, and people aren't going to say, you know, hey, that's wrong, they're going to push the limits further and further. Its appearance came as the school honored some of its own killed on September 11, 2001 attacks, including on the homepage of its website, which featured a tribute to Frederick C. Rimmel III, a Marblehead physician and 1990 graduate, Brock Safronoff, a 1997 graduate, and Morita Tam, a 2001 graduate. So, one of them, she had her whole life ahead of her. It's no different than what these little communist pricks are. I mean, college students. She was going out into the real world, making her way, and had her life cut short. You'd think that would click with them and go, wow, we ain't immortal little pricks that can get away with saying what we want and doing what we want. And acting like morons. But hey, no, it didn't. Caroline Hanna, a school spokeswoman, blasted the banner as deeply insensitive, especially on this particular day, but she said it won't be taken down. Yeah, it is deeply insensitive. She should have also said deeply offensive, because it is deeply offensive as well. Free speech enables all citizens of this country to express their opinions, even if their views are expressed in a manner that might offend, she said. Particularly as an institution that champions academic freedom and freedom of expression, the college has an obligation to uphold that right. And I got to give them credit for doing it here. I mean, sometimes their left bias does affect things that go on the campus. And I wouldn't be surprised if that wasn't going on here. But where she says it's offensive, I can see that the school might have its limit. Because people on the far left are actually pissing off their allies on the left spectrum. And left is a spectrum. Kind of like autism. Sorry, couldn't help that. Oh, God. The banner, which according to students was still hanging as of yesterday evening, quickly sowed a divide between student Republicans and Democrats on campus. Yeah, because these days, those who call themselves Democrats are inconsiderate assholes who are Muslim apologists going, not all, not all, not all, but then they're calling all Trump supporters racists and misogynists and, Nazis. And so you got to love the hypocrisy with that, because the left is going to defend what's being said there and ignore the fact that thousands of Americans, thousands of them, were killed by a terrorist attack. Regardless if it was, done by the deep state, with the aid of Middle Eastern allies, whether it was done by the government, elements of the government beyond the deep state, whether it was done just by terrorists. Okay, thousands upon thousands of people died. That's a serious fucking matter. A matter that actually led us down this path to this globalist 1984 Orwellian fucking shithole of a situation that we're finding ourselves in. More and more each day. I mean, come on now. A GOP club member said they had erected a flag inside the dining hall's lobby alongside a sign that read, "Never forget," the day before the mark of the 16-year anniversary of the attack that killed more than 2,900 people. So they put that there, someone got triggered and offended, and they had to go and grab some fucking shoe polish and go, "Oh, look at me, I'm a fucking rebel, I'm going to quote a revisionist piece of shit commie." Because that's what they fucking did. I mean, they're obviously not saying it that way to themselves, because to him, to the him or her or them, or Zer, whatever, because it is UMass Amherst, God, Wonderkin, if you're one of the 73 fucking genders there and you did it, we'll just say. Okay, you got triggered. Plain and simple, you got fucking triggered. So you thought you would do some triggering back. And what they did shouldn't have triggered you. But you chose to try to upset people. And trigger an emotional response. Not triggered on the note of like you, fucking spazzing out. Because people right of what you are don't do that in general. They see something like this and they go, "I'm disgusted, but you have a right to free speech and you're a piece of shit for what you're saying, but I got to respect the fact that you have the right to say it." So, I mean, yeah, to me it's profoundly disrespectful. Brentley Myers, an Amherst College junior and secretary of the school's college Republicans, said of the banner. "We can have a discussion about the war on terror, but to me, today is about remembrance and respect to those who died and served after 9/11. It is an upsetting politicization of a day where it shouldn't be that way." Well said. Very well said. I love how when you talk to someone from the different sides of the false left-right paradigm. You talk to someone from the left, and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about if they know how to formulate a fucking sentence in their defense at all. No offense to people on the left, but that's the general rule these days. I mean, you can go and see footage like that would seem never-ending in regards to this all over YouTube and other alternative platforms that are out there that are starting to amass collections of content. So, you have that going on the left, and then on the right, you have people like this individual who says a very poignant, dead-on statement like that. That should say a lot on where the intellectual, informed, educated types of people will tend to be. And yeah, you might have people with quote-unquote degrees on the left. Okay? But confront them with an actual argument, and they can't respond because they're dumbed down. And that degree don't mean shit when that's the case. Alexander Dietrich, president of Amherst College Democrats, said he can understand the criticism, but said the banner is a more comprehensive understanding of the tragedy of the day. No! It's a complete fucking misrepresentation of the day. Because September 11th is not about what's happened outside the United States. September 11th and remembering is about remembering the loss of those lives, okay? It's about remembering a day that has changed the fabric of this nation for a very long time, if not forever, on all aspects, but definitely forever on certain levels. And I'm hoping on the surveillance state stuff that's not the case, because none of that has halted terror. What all it's been is Orwellian. It's been 1984. It's been turned on the American people. And this, I love how we've got someone here who was barely alive to remember, if at all, September 11th, talking like he actually has a fucking clue of September 11th. Did he watch, going about his day, the skies just become clear of all air traffic and dead silent, to find out when they got home that planes were flown into the Twin Towers? Did they watch those planes fly in? No. But someone my age, someone their parents' age, someone older, someone who was, not a couple years out from being a wasted cum stain on their daddy's shorts if their daddy didn't get lucky. Okay? Yeah. You got no fucking clue if you're that young. Because you don't remember, you don't have, you might remember things, but you don't have the ability to process them in a way that would allow you to see it for what it was and have the impact that it had on people who were. So you kind of minimize it and you don't look at it as a serious event, when it was a very serious event for this country. 3,900 people, 2,900 people plus 3,000. The count's kind of off. They don't have an accurate count with something like that. And yeah, you don't think it's a big deal when you don't get to experience it like that. So you're going to talk like this kid did here. That's the representative of the president of the College Democrats. But he said his group did not hang the banner, nor did he know who did. Even if I believed him, which I don't, he could probably find out very easily, I'm sure. And if he didn't, and it wasn't anyone he knew, I'm sure he found out after the fact, because it doesn't sound like he's got a problem with them saying what they said, taking a communist, revisionist, and combining that with a pro-Muslim, anti-American stance. Yeah. I don't think he'd have a problem finding them. He added, I don't believe that it was wrong to not only I don't believe that it is wrong to not only remember the thousands of people whose lives were lost in the World Trade Center, but remember those whose lives were lost in the War on Terror. Okay? You want to remember them? How about we throw in prison the people who have committed a fraud to allow for that ongoing situation? So let's throw Baby Bush in prison, along with Cheney and Rumsfeld and all those other people that were involved during his administration. Then, how about everyone on Obama's administration? Okay, how about all of them that were involved? Obama and Hillary were definitely involved. I mean, just look at, well, her time there as Secretary of State, what they did on the note of drone strikes and everything else. Look at what he did after she left. They're to blame, along with their, complicit members of their staffs and the different agencies, all that were involved. The deep state, what about them? They had an involvement in this. Because it's all their faults. So you're trying to minimize what happened to innocent Americans. Innocent. They had no horse in the race, minding their own business, going to work, traveling, and what happened to them? They had some whack jobs that, by the official story, were being coordinated by a guy on a dialysis machine with a satellite phone. So, yeah. I mean, the thing is this is just disgusting. It really is. That's the bottom line. It's in poor taste. They intentionally did it when they did it to get a reaction. Do they have a right to post that? Yeah. I'm not going to disagree with the fact of their right to post it. I'm disagreeing with the content, which is different. But I'm just hoping that things change and it's not too late for the cradle of the American Revolution, being Boston and the surrounding area and New England. Because if any more of New England falls, you're kind of fucked, because then you've got, bottom, left coast, top, right coast, you've got two Democratic strongholds, and that's not going to be good for the country. Especially when this is the future of the left. Quoting revisionist communists. Taking the deaths of 3,000 Americans and minimizing them. Oh, clueless millennials. Anyways, if you liked the video, definitely hit the thumbs up. Upvote it. If you want to see more of my content on a regular basis, don't forget to subscribe. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to ring the bell. Thank you all. Have a good one.